Morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to On Passive Spotlight with Susie McCray and Julie Nguyen. Today is August 17, 2022. My name is Julie Nguyen. I'm coming to you from Orange County, California. Susie?
Hey, how's everyone doing? It's Susie McCray coming to you from Amherst, Massachusetts in the United States. And today is another episode of On Passive Spotlight. And as you know, if you've watched before, what we do is we find a founder that we think is interesting and that we want to spotlight. And who do we have today? But we have my good friend Romola Hodis with us today as our founder spotlight. Okay, so just a quick little introduction of Romola, and then she's going to share some interesting things about her. I think, Romola, it was a few years ago, you reached out to me. We became fast friends once we got to know each other as being founders in the company of On Passive. And we developed a very good friendship and relationship. We talk quite frequently, and we were able to actually meet each other in person last month. I find Romola a lot of fun, which everyone knows my favorite F word is fun. She lives down in Florida, but she's a native New Yorker. And so we would like to welcome you, Romola. And if you could just kind of tell us, Julie, you want her to tell us a little bit about herself?
Yes, please. Romola, please say hello to everyone.
Hi, my name is Romola. I live in Boynton Beach, Florida now from New York. And I wanted to say that, meeting Susie and some of the other founders, what an experience it is, after you know somebody for years over the internet, and then you actually get to hug them. And as Susie said, sniff them. It was great. It was just a really, really lovely, warm time. And because of that, I am going to be having, and I believe it's going to be the first week in November, I'm going to have a get together here in West Palm, and I'm looking for a place now. You inspired.
And guess who's going? Guess who's going?
That's right.
Me.
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
That is so awesome. So I know you met Susie McCray and so many other. Let me ask you really quick, go back in time a little bit. When did you join On Passive? And I know you told me very early in time.
Yeah, actually, I remember exactly where I was. I was living with my sister. I was lying on my bed in my room. It was actually September 11th. And someone who had got me into another business sent me the video. And I was like, is this an honest person? Is this, and I joined right away. And I had spoken to Ash. And one of the things I joined, there was about 5,000 people. And one of the things I had said to him was, I'm reading a lot of the links. And you can kind of tell that, it's coming from India or somewhere. The grammar could be tweaked. Can I go over all of them? And he let me, and I went all over them and fixed the grammar. And we used to talk, and he used to say, come for lunch, but then it just started getting busy. And I've been following ever since, before we had a name, before we, when we would just be on phone calls, and once, it's just developed. Like, it's interesting because I was in the natural food industry from the beginning, and watching that develop, On Passive kind of reminds me of that a little, because here we were, he didn't have a name, we weren't doing webinar, and now, we're getting together, and there's a zillion, it's just great. So it's
well, you don't give yourself enough credit for what you've done in the natural food industry. I know your story, but a lot of people watching don't. I mean, Romola is really a businesswoman with a fantastic skills. You started the first, was it the first wholesale distribution of natural foods in New York?
I was one of the first women on the whole East Coast to be a broker. It was a man's world. And, I helped build the natural food industry. I also was the person that got in organic meat, and everybody was freaking out. And I said, some people, including me, eat meat, and I want it to be healthy. And it was great. It is such a good memory. 25 years. I mean, I certainly had my issues, but it was great. And then
Yeah.
after that, I wrote a book, and that book led me to be on a Netflix series. Ron Howard asked me to be on his Netflix series. My father was the porno king of New York City, so I wrote a book about his story, and also I was very abused by my dad, by my mom, and how I chose to find a way to not let it affect, affect me in my life so much, by getting mentors and friends and learning to talk kind to myself and having a good attitude. That's why On Passive is like right up my alley. And then the Netflix series, Ron Howard asked me to come on because he was doing something about what's called The Killer of 42nd Street. This man was kind of like the Son of Sam or whatever, but because he was killing prostitutes, a big deal wasn't made of it. And this killer was the one that started like the laws to change for
Mhm.
ladies of the evening, or sex workers as they call them now. So I'm on, and
Well-
that was really exciting. So
And once again, you're being humble.
Humble.
I read both Romola's book, The Princess of 42nd Street, and I watched the Netflix series. I thought it was called the Times Square Killer. Is that what it's called? Or
maybe,
something?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
The Killer of Times Square, the Times Square Killer.
But anyway, Romola was like excellent. You can watch it. You can see her being interviewed. But I think the key point, Julie, that is so important in Romola is she rose above. She rose above what went on in her life and decided to not have any excuses in her life, and to just become a great person with a big heart. And I am just so thrilled to have met her. Actually, when we launched OSTAF in Boston and I was sitting next to Ash having dinner that night, I knew that he knew Romola, and she texted me and she said something like, "Hi, say hi to Ash." And I said, "Hey, Romola says hi, Ash." He goes, "Let's call her." So we called her, and the two of them, had a nice
I pick
conversation.
up the phone. I'm like, he goes, "Hello." I'm like, "Ash, is that you?" He goes, "That's me." I said, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah. So it's so funny in this whole journey as founders of how we've got to meet people. And you are extremely humble, Romola, because I know you went through a lot of adversity, and there's other things that have happened in your life as well, but you always rise above. You always have a good sense of humor. And I'm just so glad that I got to meet you, and that people are seeing you and knowing a little bit about you too.
Thank
Julie,
you.
did you have any questions for
Wait.
Romola?
Yes, when you both meet each other, what were your, I guess I should say, expectation? Because I feel like you both known each other for a while, being in conversations, having a lot. Was it like, because I know we haven't really met each other in person, but when you meet the individuals that you've been on the phone and Zoom for many, many years, what was it like?
It was, for me, just to get to really hug this human. And I think we held each other 3 times very tightly, because
Yeah.
it was just, it was just like, wow, finally, this is real. Hello, it's flesh and blood. Hi, it
Right.
was just I don't know how to explain the feeling of connecting with somebody that you already really, really care about, and you never even met them. It's a bit peculiar, but very nice.
Yeah, and I
The
think a
old best
way,
friend, right?
yeah, it's, you know what it's like? It's I know this kind of sounds cliche, but it was like we've known each other our whole life.
Yes.
And we sat next to each other, and the level of comfortability to be around each other, and her dear friend Carla,
Yeah.
who lives not far from me, who she stayed with, and they came up together. And just to sit there, and for Romola to meet my brother, my friend
Yeah.
Lynn, and other people at the
Yeah.
table, it felt like like an old pair of shoes putting
Yeah.
on, comfortable.
Yeah, we're just, for some reason, we just really like had a soul connection or some kind of a connection that's just very warm and just great. Just
And
really,
that's how it felt when I met Julie too in person at the
uh-huh,
end of March, and other founders. It felt like it's just so comfortable, and that's how it felt like with meeting Ash. There's no stress, no agendas,
right.
no nothing. Just like pure fun,
I
joy,
can't
love.
wait. I can't wait for that. Really. I can't wait until, 8, 9 months go by or whatever, and he has some convention in, Lollapalooza land or wherever he's going to have it. And we're all going to be able to just, hug him and say, wow, it's about time to just
Yeah.
connect. I'm really looking forward to that.
It's really so nice that we are sitting here talking with each other. We've known each other for so long on Zoom, and it does the same thing with other people. We are all having that same vision, that same love, that same unity and love with each other, which that will bring us into the next topic that Susie is preparing for us, is to stay focused on, whether or not it's a vision or focus on just an individual health. So Susie, would you like to go ahead and introduce and bring up the topic?
Yeah.
We kind of been talking in the past couple of weeks that we've been doing on Passive Spotlight.
Yeah, like stress, worry, focus, distractions. And, I admit I'm the queen of distractions. I think a lot of us are, as long as you can identify you're going down that rabbit hole and you say, okay, I got to pull back and finish what I'm doing. I think last time we were on, we were talking about start an email, finish an email, start a thought, finish a thought, instead of going all over the place. But something I learned, you guys, a few years ago, and I may not be able to explain it exactly like the person meant it, but I'm going to give you examples, especially if you are a procrastinator, okay? Or you're someone who puts off today what you can do tomorrow, which is okay with some things. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it because I think you might get some value from it and think about things that you may do this sometimes and the additional worry or stress it may add to your brain space. Remember, we talk a lot about trying to be more creative, having that quiet time, freeing your mind up of things so you can be a good representative of as a founder of On Passive and start thinking bigger, thinking better thoughts. So here's what it's called. And you can look it up, and I don't have any notes. I just go off the cuff with what I'm thinking. It's called Parkinson's Law. It has nothing to do with Parkinson's disease. It was a man, his name was Parkinson's Law. And basically, as long of a time that you allow to get a task done, the task gets done within that amount of time. So once again, the amount of time you allow for a task to get done, like you set a deadline or a date when you're going to get it done, it generally takes that time to get it done. So we're talking about, I'll give a couple examples. Any of you in high school or in college, you had that paper that was due, you got your syllabus at the beginning of the semester, and you knew you had this to be done, and at the end of the year, your final paper. And how many students wait until the last night and they pull an all-nighter because they like, well, there's a lot of people out there that aren't like that. They like to get it done. I'm speaking to those of you who put off. So what happens is it's hanging in the back of your head that whole semester. And you're doing the countdown. You wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking, I'm going to start that tomorrow. I'm going to get it done. Then what you come to find out is they pull an all-nighter and they realize it only took them 4 to 6 hours that could have been done so much sooner. Another thing we do, taxes, okay? Especially here in the United States, income tax day is April 15th, happens to be my birthday too. Starting in January, you're getting your tax information. Oh, all of a sudden February pops up. Oh, I still got a little time. Oh, now we're into March. It's hanging over your head. Did I make the appointment? Is there anything that my accountant needs? Did I put together all of my expense? So you're rehashing it. And what it does is it causes your mind to be cluttered for a task to be done. Then you actually carve the time out and you get it done. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I've been perseverating over that for the last 2 or 3 months. And I just sat down and I was able to get it done in 2 hours. So in certain things, think about saying, okay, this has been on my to-do list for the last 6 months. Go back and look, how much have you been thinking about it, rewriting it? Just go and get it done, because that will alleviate that extra brain power and stress. It's called Parkinson's law. So I don't know if any of you ever do that, Julie. I know Ramola's probably, here it is, got to get it done. I get it done, but not everyone's like you, Ramola.
No, I know. I couldn't give myself, I never understood how my friends gave themselves all that stress.
Stress.
I'm like, and when January comes, my taxes are done at the end of it's like I have enough anxiety from my, I try to get things done. And it's not like I don't procrastinate on things, but most things I try to get done so I don't have anxiety, because I can't stand anxiety.
So good. So how do you do that? Do you what's a good tip you can give to people? Because I always perform under pressure better, or that's the story I tell myself.
Because of where I come from in my childhood and whatnot, the last thing in the world that I want is anxiety. So I know, I write everything down, and I used to put number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and get it done, because I don't want any more anxiety. I got enough anxiety. So that was my why. That was my why of not being a procrastinator.
That is excellent.
When the pandemic came, that was the first time in my life I ever understood procrastination. Because when the pandemic came, without getting into it, life changed in my head, and I would procrastinate on things, I guess, kind of because you could, but so, at like 64 years old, I was like, oh, that's what procrastination is. Because I would never, I can't remember really doing it, because for me, I don't want any more anxiety than life already gives me.
That is wow. That is well said. And I'm so glad, because we didn't even plan this topic around whether Ramola was a procrastinator or not. Julie, are you like me, or are you like Ramola? Or
I think I'm more like you, because being a mom, you kind of work within what your children needs, right? So it's never really been, I can organize certain things, but when it comes to things, I don't think I can, right? So I'm more like, like I'm not procrastinating, but I'm not very well organized like what Ramola is doing. And I think I'm so happy that you brought that up, because being procrastinator, staying focused will also help us in terms of our memory as well. I mean, all of this, what we're talking about here, is really interconnecting with each other. What we're doing, being cluster, seeing things as cluster, it's not really helping with our mind as well. So I'm so glad, Ramola, that you brought that. I'm so glad that you brought that up, Susie. And honestly, in the Spotlight show, we spotlight our founders, we spotlight an individual. And today we spotlight the fact that the interdynamic that Ramola is, what she has been through, and then also her books and her Netflix shows and what she's been through. And then now came to the part where she's like, I'm not procrastinator. I have to have this certain things set up, which
like
is
now that I'm going to be setting up this thing in November.
Yeah.
It's going to be done in 3 weeks.
Yeah. And that's why
find the place. Susie's going to help me with, because I'm not going to have pressure.
And I'm like, we've got And I'm thinking, we've got plenty of time.
No.
Here comes the
Yeah.
Parkinson's law. We don't have, but Romola called me today and she's like, we got to get this going. So if you guys are just catching this now, we're going to do an event in West Palm Beach, Florida, sometime the beginning of November. More information so we can kind of get a ballpark figure of who's interested.
Right.
Romola's going to do
I
it.
would like
I
to
think-
know who would be, how many people would be interested in going. So you could always go to O Network and look up Romola Hodis.
Yes,
and go
look her
back
up.
there and say, I would like to come or whatever.
Oh,
But,
that's
but-
so lovely. That is
yes.
so lovely. And I
know-
imagine it would be perfect because you're like, you have a set things that you wanted to do and you planned it well. So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to it. I hope I
Yes,
can
and-
come too.
I
Yeah.
hope you can help too. I hope you come.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah,
would
we're all
be
gonna-
great. You know
I
what?
think
West
it
Palm
was-
Beach, Florida in November is a lovely time.
It's
to come.
beautiful. It's
Oh
beautiful.
my gosh.
And Romola, I just want to say, as your friend, very proud of you, your book and
Thank
what
you
you
so
did,
much.
because I think it does help a lot of people. And I don't mean that to sound trite. It really does. I mean, you really have risen as, right up there and taking care of yourself, but also you're a role model to some people that have had bad things happen to them, and you showed that you can overcome it. So we're extremely proud
you.
of you.
Thank
But
you.
we are going to end in a fun note, okay, now
Okay.
that all the serious stuff. And just a reminder to everyone, it was announced today, tomorrow, Thursday, August 18th at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time will be a corporate webinar. More details in the back office. I believe Ash will be coming on to speak to the founders. How exciting is that? So what we do on Spotlight to end it is, I love asking this question. It's, what would you rather choose? So I'm going to ask you two things, Romola, and you have to choose one or the other, and you got to give us a reason why.
Okay.
What would you rather? Would you rather have hair growing out of your nose or hair growing out of your ears?
Well, I think if I had hair growing out of my nose, at least I could clip it on my own. The ears would be hard. So I guess it would be the nose.
No, I'm going to add something. No clipping allowed.
Then the ears, because then I could like put it behind my ears or
There
something.
you go.
Not my
There you-
nose.
There
No.
you go. Okay, Julie, how about you?
I would want hair to be coming out of my ear, definitely. And I can just either put it in the back and use his hair to kind of cover it.
Right.
No,
But
no.
think about how much fun
No,
I
no,
would
I don't
have.
want to think about it.
I could
No.
make a pretzel. I could
No.
do like
You
a
think
little
about it.
animals
You
or
think
whatever.
about it. And do
Okay.
that while you're hula hooping.
There
Okay?
you go.
There you
You
go.
could throw the. I thought it was a fun one.
That
Well,
is
like
a
we-
fun one.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Romola, for joining us. And everybody in the comments, if you want to add, would you rather have hair growing out of your nose, or maybe you already have that happening? I don't know.
I bet you some people do.
Well,
Yeah. So
that's right. Maybe somebody did. Anyway, Romola, thank you so much for spending precious
Thank you
time
very
with us.
much. Thank
We
you so
Yes.
much.
appreciate you, and you are the diamond in the rough, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank
So
you.
at the end of our show, we usually say, what's the action plan for everybody to come on? To me, the topic that we discuss here is something that we really need to look at our life right now. Be organized, declutter thing, right? For me, also, it has something to do with memories, because for me, if you are declutter, it helps you where things putting. I told Susie today, I said, you are calling the loved one every day, right? Instead of saving the number, well, you have the number there. I can pick up the phone and call Susie McCray, but if I could just remember her number, right?
right.
Every time
Right.
I called you, I'll just dial the number. It would really help with our mind as well. We organize and we focus on that moment. We dial that number. Or we know in OnPassive, we have the OTP number. How many of us are actually remember that 6-digit OTP going from our email to our back office? Are you usually the person who remember it and type it in right away, or do you have to write it down? If you are the person who write things down, like the 6-digit OTP, I would recommend if you could try to remember it going from your email to your back office. So
Yeah,
those are
don't
the
copy and paste. No
yeah,
copy and
don't
paste.
copy and paste. No, that's not allowed. Let's do that, right? Remember the number. It has something to do with focus. It has to do something with organize as well. It's very little, but I hope those two would help as an action plan for this meeting coming forward. That's all we have, everyone. We have a diamond in rough here, Romola here
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you.
We love you, and
We love you.
we appreciate everyone's joining us today. And if you're joining us on YouTube, we appreciate you. Click the subscribe button if you haven't. Click the bell for notification, because we do this live on the channel that you have and on Passive as a whole every single day. Especially for On Passive Spotlight, we come to you every Wednesday. It could be
That's
at
right.
4 p.m. It could be at 7:30 p.m. We're all busy. We work on really the schedule for everyone. So just click the bell and get notifications. Thank you so much, Romola.
Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Thank you.
We love you. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
evening.